Now to a KRDO News Channel 13 investigation. The Colorado Attorney General telling us today the number of customer complaints against Frontier Airlines has doubled since just last week when he called for the federal government to investigate.
The accusations are that Frontier lied and unfairly mistreated customers by refusing to honor refunds or travel vouchers during the travel upheaval of the pandemic. KRDO News Channel 13 investigative reporter Chelsea Brensel joins us live at the Colorado Springs Airport. Chelsea.
A spokesperson with the U.S. Department of Transportation tells me today the agency is reviewing the request from the Attorney General to investigate the Denver-based airline that also flies out of the Springs Airport. Meanwhile, some folks here in Colorado Springs have been fighting with Frontier for a refund for the past 6 months. This is how Dee Thomas describes her dealings with Frontier Airlines after COVID-19 canceled her daughter's college graduation in Virginia.
A nightmare.
Her family spent over $1,000 on airline tickets and decided to cancel when Frontier gave them the option due to COVID-19 concerns in March. They wanted a refund, but ultimately were awarded a travel voucher, which they used to book a new flight. It went downhill from there.
We have this printout of our itinerary, but at the top, there's no flight confirmation code. And so when we log on to our flyfrontier.com or whatever, it doesn't show our flight. So we're just wondering, are we flying? Are we not?
They called Frontier to figure out what was going on.
And they were like, well, we're going to look it up. We looked it up and they said, we don't show that you guys are booked for any travel. So are we going to be able to get our money back or the travel credit back? And they're like, no.
Dee's $1,000 loss isn't unique, according to Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, who wrote this strongly worded letter to the U.S. Department of Transportation urging an investigation.
Since the pandemic started, over 150 complaints that Frontier was deceiving passengers. People were being told, oh, you can use this credit or refund, and then later told they couldn't or they couldn't get through.
Another 182 complaints have come in since then, but Weiser is hopeful the federal government will answer his calls to step in.
I don't want companies deceiving people. And when so many people come forward and say they were mistreated, that pisses me off. My job is to be a watchdog, to protect consumers.
Frontier denies the allegations made by over 300 consumers, saying, quote, throughout the pandemic, Frontier Airlines has acted in good faith to care for our passengers compassionately and fairly. At all times, we have remained in full compliance with DOT rules and regulations governing flight changes, cancellations, and refunds. We strongly dispute any suggestion to the contrary. Now the AG is urging anyone who may have been deceived or unfairly treated by Frontier to file a complaint with his office. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, Chelsea Brensel, KRDO News Channel 13.